Welcome to the SyFy Sistas podcast, where we give you our point of view. I'm your host, Tamia Harper, and today I'm joined by my sisters, Sabrina Wood.
Whoop, whoop.
And Fran T.
What's happening?
And we have a special guest on the show today that we couldn't be more excited about, because we're going to talk today about something far outside of most of the SyFy Sistas' purview, which is Doctor Who. Now, Sister JD, Sister for Life, she was a Whovian. So we don't have JD anymore, and we miss her. Hey, JD, what's up, girl?
Hey, JD.
What's happening?
And we thought about, like, with this new doctor, there's going to be a Black doctor on Doctor Who. We need a Black Whovian to talk to explain to other Black folks and other people, why should we give a hoot about who? So I went out and found us a Black geek who's a Whovian, who's also a very dear friend of ours, whom we love deeply. And he's also not just a Whovian, he's a hardcore Trek fan, and he's in all the cool Trek groups. But more than that, he's just a decent, swell kind of guy. So I want to bring our friend Jamal Taylor onto the show. Hey, Jamal.
Hey, Tamia.
Yay.
Jamal was here.
Jamal, my cousin.
So Jamal graciously accepted to lead us through or help us through this discussion. This is a discussion aimed at those of us who don't know a lot about Doctor Who or anything about Doctor Who, and a primer to get ready for the new Doctor Who with the first time a Black doctor who's playing the lead character, right? Right.
First one that's leading the show. Yes.
Leading the show. Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and I don't know how to pronounce the brother's name, Sabrina. So come on with it.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Ncuti. So we're looking for you. SyFy Sistas are going to be following you. And so we're going to start off with some beginning. Jamal, can you give us some basic information about what Doctor Who is about? Like when it came on air, that type of jazz.
Sure. Doctor Who is a BBC science fiction series. It was originally targeted at children, and it debuted in 1963. The Doctor is an alien from the planet Gallifrey. His title is Time Lord, which basically means he travels through time, goes places, and what he does in the show mostly is winds up visiting historical places at critical times. What he does most of the time is travel with companions, most of which have been human, some have been alien. They're usually just regular people who he invites on the adventure to go see something. And they travel along, and usually hijinks ensue.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me that this is an alien Time Lord from another place that's going around and coming into like key points in historical times to save the world?
Not intending to save the world. Usually he just wants to go see the event or show it to someone, but usually there's something that happens. Either someone else is interfering, or there were things that didn't make it into the history books that need his help to make sure history happens the way it was supposed to.
And also, to be clear, we're not just talking about our world. We're talking about many worlds, right? Across many galaxies, right?
Yep. And to do that, he has a special vehicle, the TARDIS. It's time and relative dimension in space. Basically, it can go any place, anytime, in any dimension.
What? TARDIS means something?
Yes.
Wait. Say it again. What does it mean?
Time and relative dimension in space.
Okay, you know what? Because one of the things about Doctor Who that used to always get me is that it felt very more like fantasy than science fiction. And so now you're telling me that, okay, that there is like some real science behind the TARDIS. All right, okay. I'm warming up.
Yeah, so the TARDIS basically uses a method where it travels through a time vortex, which if you've ever seen the intro for the show, is that wormhole looking thing where it's kind of tumbling around, and the walls are basically points in time and dimensions. He's traveled to different universes, also traveling to different dimensions, and of course, so he's gone to the end of the universe and the beginning, and pretty much all the points in between.
This is sounding very DS9ish. Are you telling me this is like wormhole alien stuff? It always comes back to Star Trek, Jamal.
Always comes back to Star Trek.
Always, yeah.
The most recent tie-in is actually with Wesley Crusher.
Say what?
Because basically, and Will Wheaton has mentioned this, he's a Time Lord now because they can go anywhere, anytime, and interact with pretty much anywhere in the universe.
That's true.
Or other universes.
That's so true. Oh my God.
And what his duties, as he described in the last series episode of Picard, is that they go around making sure things happen the way they're supposed to. Pretty much like the Doctor, only it's more organized. The Doctor usually doesn't set out to go fix things. He just winds up having to.
True.
Does he have any control as to where he goes?
Technically, he should. And when he's pressed, he can get the TARDIS to do that. But usually, and one of the best lines in one of the recent series is the TARDIS takes him where he needs to be. Because the TARDIS is connected. All the TARDISes, and there are multiple ones, but his is the last one that's running, is connected to everything and everywhere. So it knows what's going on. So but it won't tell him in advance. It kind of just takes him where he needs to be and when he needs to be.
Oh, okay.
How interesting.
You're making me kind of want to see this now.
Yeah, maybe. I might want to,
I might want to watch this.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's allowed the show to stay on the air since 1963, with only one brief interruption from 1989 to 2005 when they brought the show back, is because the Doctor isn't one person. He has this ability to regenerate. Basically, if he's fatally injured, if they take out one or both of his hearts in such a way that he's going to die,
both of
he'll regenerate. Hearts? Yeah, Gallifreyans have two hearts.
Oh, okay.
And they actually
have to
play
watch
that
this
into
show.
this. Yeah, so if you ever hear taps of 4, it's like that's a Gallifreyan heartbeat. Well, both of them. So yours would be thump thump. There's 4 thumps for Gallifreyan.
Okay.
So when the Doctor regenerates, he basically becomes a new person, and immediately when that happens, he doesn't have access to his memories. So he's kind of clueless about what's going on, where he is, who he is, or she is, and what's going on. But they retain basic information about how to use the TARDIS, that they are a Time Lord, and eventually their memories come back. But they basically get to start an entire new life.
They're a little jumbled when they first reincarnate.
Yes.
That would be, I would understand that. Okay, because the first one I saw, I did see a couple of Doctor Who's back when it was really kind of first came on. And, okay, my first question to you, Jamal, is when did you come into Doctor Who? Because it started in 1963 and it went all the way to 1989. So it never had the break that Star Trek had, where, there was 3 seasons and it was done and we were just watching reruns for years and years and years. Doctor Who just went on. It was just all these Doctor Who's. And then there was a short break, like you said, from 2000. It came back in 2005 until now. So this show has been on almost continuously, except for that little, 6-year break. And unlike Star Trek. But
6 years, that's 89 to 2005. That's longer than 6 years, isn't it? Or am I a real bad math person?
No, it's like 15 years almost. Yeah, thank you, Fran.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, there was that one break. But which Doctor Who did you come in? Just like which is your Star Trek franchise? Which
Right.
Doctor Who did you come in with, and why did you love him so much?
Well, before you answer that one too, can I tag on, like, how many doctors overall have there been thus far?
That is actually an interesting one. Depending on who you're asking, there's either, with this upcoming Doctor, have been 14, but if you count the War Doctor, who was in the 50th anniversary special, and the female Rogue Doctor from the most recent series, then there's 16.
Mm.
Whoa!
But what we found out in the most recent series is there may be an infinite number of them, because even the Doctor doesn't know how many times they've regenerated.
Okay,
but
that makes
formally
sense.
there's been 14 people that held the title of Doctor.
Is he the only Doctor?
He's the only one referred to as the Doctor.
Okay.
Gallifreyans, Time Lords will usually have a different name or title. One of his main arch nemesis throughout the whole series is called the Master. They don't never say what he's the master of, but that's just his title.
So we need to know.
So it's like the Watcher for Marvel.
Yeah,
right.
Where
exactly.
his job is pretty much his title, but no one calls him by his actual name. He's just the Watcher. It's the same thing with the Master.
And so which Doctor was Tom Baker, the one that I came in with in 70
Yeah,
something?
he came in at 74 and ran until 81.
Okay, yeah, right. All right, that's when I was in college, and that's when we were definitely watching Doctor Who and Monty Python. Okay, it was all this British stuff, and we were totally into it.
I was introduced to Doctor Who in the late 70s to early 80s, but they brought over all the series piecemeal over on PBS.
Right.
Watched it. So
that's how I used to watch it too.
I had a mix of Doctors, actually. So the first one I have a memory of was actually Patrick Troughton, because they were still doing the episodes in black and white.
Yeah.
So I saw a couple of episodes with him, and they were Daleks, which is another one of the Doctor's enemies. But then there's a gap that then I jumped to Tom Baker. And the easiest way to remember him is the scarf and the hat and the curly brown hair. Like excessively long scarf.
Right. Okay,
probably run into people wearing the scarf at cons, and you're like, why is that scarf so long?
Right.
It's scarf and Rent. He was wearing that scarf. And the floppy hair. That's always what I think of when I think of Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Fourth Doctor is really the first one I watched it multiple episodes, but I started off with the Second Doctor.
So we're looking at a British show that started in the 60s. Chances are they don't have a great track record with minority characters or people of color on the show. Like, when did we start? Right. So when did we start seeing more representation in Doctor Who? And do you remember like any notable characters of color, particularly Black characters that stand out?
That were regulars on the show? Not really. You would see them in background characters or people that the Doctor would run into. But it wasn't really until the reboot in 2005 where we saw the Doctor's companion, Rose Tyler. Her boyfriend at the time was named Mickey.
Yeah.
He was a Black British kid. He was the first one that was a regular on the show who had speaking lines. You knew what his name was. And he traveled along with the Doctor and Rose for a time. The first Black companion was then Martha Stewart. Not Martha Stewart. Martha Jones. She actually traveled with the Doctor. It's kind of bad because she joined up with the Doctor after he lost Rose by saving her. So a lot of people refer to her as the rebound companion.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the more recent Doctors, the companions have a tendency to fall in love with the Doctor. Not through anything of his doing, but usually just because he's kind. the ability to travel anywhere probably factors into it. But he ran into Martha Jones. She kind of fell for him, but he was not at a place where he could even pay attention to that. So,
and who was playing that doctor?
That was actually David Tennant's doctor.
Okay,
he's the 10th Doctor. Probably more people will recognize him more recently. I believe it's Good Omens.
Yeah, Good Omens.
Right.
But he's also been in
Got
Black
some very
Church.
famous doctors. Matt
I've
Smith.
heard that name before.
David Tennant is a
David
Tennant
Tennant,
actor.
yeah.
He's
him.
also the voice of Scrooge McDuck in the most recent revival of DuckTales.
I did not realize
Okay.
that. That's so cool.
Well, David Tennant is the doctor in the episode that we compared to Darmok when we did Midnight.
Yeah.
That was David Tennant.
Okay.
So he was the doctor. And if you go back, everyone, and go back and listen to our show when we compared the Darmok to Midnight, thank you, JD. That was David Tennant. And then Matt Smith has been the doctor, who you might know from The Crown. He was playing Prince Philip in The Crown, and won an Emmy for that. So, and Matt Smith has been in a bunch of other stuff. So he was
currently
after,
I believe, in a Song of Fire and Ice right now. He's a Targaryen.
Yeah. He was
Apparently
after
he's
David Tennant,
quite
right?
wicked.
And then we have Jodi Wittaker.
Yeah, Jodi Wittaker was the most recent doctor, and she was the first female doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched the first couple of episodes just to see, I said, oh, female. Not, I don't just watch when there's a black Doctor Who. I watch when there was a female Doctor
too.
Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her appearance as the first female doctor brought a lot of controversy, brought a lot of vitriol from people who thought they were fans, but realized that they weren't really fans of the show or the concept.
Sound familiar?
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, you had basically 50, 55 years of white male doctors.
Really? Just one after another.
And bring in a white female doctor.
Right.
Was her tenure as long as, what's the average tenure of a doctor? The
average tenure is usually 4 to 6 years. Tom Baker was actually a pretty long run. He did 7 years. Bennett did 5 years. The shortest runs were actually Christopher Eccleston. He was the doctor. He was the doctor who brought the series back in 2005. He was only there for a year.
Wow.
Showrunners and decided that he wanted to do the show, which is a shame because he was quite good at being the doctor. But the upside is then we got David Tennant, who was excellent at the doctor.
Yes, he was.
I have
there was
a question.
Also Paul McGann, who was in the movies, but he was there for a year. And Jodi was basically started in 2018, and technically she'll hand over the reins this year.
So let me ask this question here. How long has it been? It's a two-part question. How long have they announced that the brother would take over as the doctor? And has there been any backlash? Or how much backlash has there been?
Yeah, there you go.
How much backlash has there been?
There's actually been, the backlash has actually been twofold and interesting. Obviously there's been the backlash by people who are like, a black doctor. They just can't handle that and their heads exploded, but that's their problem. Then there are people who felt like Jodi didn't get a fair shake at it because the showrunner, Chris Chibnall, he didn't do the best job of running the show. He's a good writer and wrote some really good episodes, but in terms of writing a good Doctor Who show, he wasn't that good. So there was a lot of people feel like she was underutilized, even though she put on a great performance as the Doctor. So they feel like also since her tenure was interrupted, like everybody's tenure was by the pandemic. Everything got cut short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I would think that
the same number of episodes, and she didn't have that the send off you usually get when they switch doctors. For the new doctor, so there were people upset that she was leaving. There were people upset that there was going to be a black doctor. The idea that this doctor was queer, potentially, that also set off a whole different set of people. I'm sure there's a Venn diagram.
Did you say he was queer?
I believe so. So
okay.
but the thing is, the doctor has always had that potential.
Yeah.
Been implied that the doctor doesn't really have a preference. It's
Okay.
not as bad as Captain Jack, who was one of the characters doctor encounters as his travels. But yeah. So there's probably a Venn diagram of people who were upset at the changes, but for different reasons. And they all intersect around there's a new doctor. There's also people who just don't like it when they change doctors at all.
Well, it's always so emotional when they change the doctor because
you get attached to them.
Yeah, they get attached. And the only one I only saw one change, like I said, is when it became Tom Baker. And it was, he's lying on the floor, and the woman is like crying that the doctor went someplace, and I don't know, he went there. She's like, "Why did he go there?" And I remember, they were like, he dies, he has to die, and then he comes back and he changes into the new guy. So poor Jodi Wittaker has to come back, and are they gonna, usually they show the reincarnation.
Yeah.
Of the doctor, so Jodi's got to come back, and then she's going to turn into, Ncuti Gatwa.
Basically, yeah. The more modern shows have done it a little more smoothly because there's usually this flash of yellow-orange light where the body glows, and then there's a flash, and then they're the new person. So,
okay.
Well,
usually, in the beginning, they would just kind of do some visual tricks. Things would get blurry. It might fade to black briefly or fade to white. And then the new doctor shows up.
Yeah,
or
right.
Do a fade in or fade out.
They've stepped it up.
Okay. All right.
So, Jamal, what do you love? I mean, we talked about Star Trek and the fact that a lot of us came into Star Trek loving Star Trek because of Uhura. And that brought us into the show and made us stay in what I personally loved Uhura, of course, but then it was Captain Kirk for me, oh baby. But what about the show has kept you watching since 1970, whatever?
Honestly, the idea about being able to step into history and see it from both the perspective of someone from contemporary times, like whenever now was for that companion, but also from the perspective of the doctor, who's an alien who's thousands and in some cases millions of years old. His people are well more advanced than humans. That they get to go sightsee, and they have their own perspective on like the motivations. Like if they're doing something momentous, is like how the doctor is in love with humanity. So it's like when we're doing something great, he always says brilliant. But then then there's also the moments when you can see and feel the disappointment when people are doing the things that disappoint all of us.
I have to say, I like Pluto, the Pluto app, and they have a Doctor Who channel on network, channel on that, and I can look at it on there. But as Sabrina said, to piggyback off of what Sabrina said, Nichelle Nichols is the one that hooked me into Star Trek. Had she not been on Star Trek, and I was looking at, science stuff when I was, like the Twilight Zone and the Time Tunnel. I looked at the Time Tunnel because they had a woman scientist on it.
They did.
And back in those days, they didn't have women, scientists that played a prominent part in shows. So I like that. So that hooked me on the Time Tunnel, even though it only lasted like one season, maybe two, not one. And and the Water Worlds, the original one. I like that they had a woman scientist on there, but she kind of played her part, her smartness down, because they did that back in the 50s, because the other guy was the guy, she was like he was a scientist too. But it was important for me to see, at least if there was a female, and then there was a black female who hooked me into track, and I kept watching it, even though, all I could see was I started from the beginning in '66, but I kept, because they played it, it came alive in syndication. That's where it actually came alive, where we saw it for years and years and years. But I still watched it because Miss Nichols was on there, and she kept me intrigued. And then when TNG came out, they had LeVar Burton and Michael Dorn on there, so that kept me hooked, and they've continued to do that. I first heard about Doctor Who. I'm gonna tell you, the first time I was looking at the Big Bang Theory because I was a fan of them. And I kind of looked it up because the only British stuff I was looking at in the late 70s and 80s was Monty Python and Benny Hill. Okay? I love Benny Hill.
Which one?
I love Benny.
Who didn't watch Benny Hill? Oh my God.
I know.
We all
I love
watched
his
Benny Hill.
I said, this man is a fool. Mm-hmm. And, it was so funny and raunchy, and I loved it. And of course, Monty Python. That's the only... something, because I looked at PBS back then, and some things, the shows and stuff they had, but I never saw Doctor Who, and then when I kind of wanted to look it up, I'm like, okay, ain't no black doctors, ain't no women doctors, what, so I've never seen an episode of it, but I'm gonna go, you make it interesting. I have to tell you this, you make it so interesting, and telling me, because I'm one of those people, as when Tamia came on and said people who had never seen it or not interested in it, I'm interested in it now because of the way that you explained it. And I didn't know, I knew he was a time traveler, but I didn't know he was an alien. So thank you. You have made it really interesting. And I'm going to check it out on Pluto because they have I'm gonna watch it, y'all. I'm gonna watch.
Okay,
y'all.
Watch
I'm gonna watch it because we know what's gonna happen to this poor brother, because it's been happening to every single black person that has stepped into a sci-fi show in these recent times. It has just been so crazy that, like you say, we come from a world where horror was just, I mean, of course, you and I were little, Fran, when this came on, but there wasn't any of
we
this
were children.
Horror, like, why is she on the bridge? There would be, there was none of this. I don't remember. I mean, you had to write a letter, back in the day.
Well, people, and
if everybody was mad about a horror, they didn't know. I mean, and
they were really ignorant, so they didn't know how to write letters. But go ahead.
Right, and we know that there were scenes that were cut out with a horror in it in certain parts of the country. They just cut the scene out. They just cut it out. But we didn't have this, crazy black backlash that we're having, that is just getting so predictable for, John Boyega and,
yes,
the woman that was in...
the Asian lady. She was a start.
Everybody. Yeah. It's like, come on. Do you really think that the only people who can do sci-fi are white people? What is with you? So now we have this whole thing going on with House of the Dragon, and we got this whole thing going on with the other news shows. Everybody's
with
mad.
The
black
Let's not
the
forget
Rings of Power. And
Rings of Power.
The
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, it's the same story.
Went off on the Little Mermaid. And
grown men, grown white men losing their ish over the Little Mermaid being black. Get out.
And as one sister said on Twitter, I love Black Twitter, many black people as y'all have thrown in the ocean, why are you surprised that there's a black mermaid?
Please.
You got a point.
Because they're down there.
You got a point. Anybody want to read the deep? Go ahead and read it. But to get back to Doctor Who.
Let's.
Okay. So we have now. So I remember that, we didn't have a horror equivalent, let's say, back in the 60s with Doctor Who, but you were still in there, Jamal, and I watched for like 2 episodes with you. But we did have the companions, as you said, and I thought there was also a female Black Doctor Who. I thought I saw this. Am I correct, or was I just daydreaming?
He showed up in during Jodi Wittaker's run. It wasn't part of the older series.
So in the 2000s.
Yes.
Okay.
This in this most recent run.
Okay.
And
they had a sister Doctor Who.
Yeah, and they don't remember each other. Usually, the Doctor will remember their previous incarnations, right. So they couldn't tell whether Jodi was the newer version or an older version of the Black Doctor.
So
how long did she stay around?
It was only for basically an episode or so.
Okay.
But it got Jodi's character thrown in jail by some other aliens called the Jadoon. They have rhino heads. Jodi. That's the easiest way to describe it. It's like a rhino's head on a big burly man's body.
Okay. If it wasn't for Big Bang Theory, I wouldn't know anything. I'm okay. Let me see who Doctor Who is.
So I have dabbled in and out of Doctor Who for many years, but I mean, not by no means would I call myself a Whovian, right? Like, but if it's on, I'm not necessarily going to change. Well, that depends. Some of the older ones, like I really had to force myself to sit through and try to watch, and I don't know, but some of them really grab me. Some of the episodes really grab me, and there's some phenomenal storytelling that I see in Doctor Who. But I'm wondering if there's like, I mean, coming from a Trek world, I'm used to sort of a overall arching philosophy or themes that run throughout our storytelling. Do you see that in Doctor Who at all?
Yeah, the Doctor has a general thing where, one, it's kind of like modern Batman, because originally Batman carried a gun and he would shoot people.
Yeah.
The Doctor doesn't kill people. He does not take up weapons, although he has used the gun, but not to shoot someone. He used it to set off something, to blow up a steam pipe or something. He is actually fenced an alien with a sword. He lost his hand, and that turned into a whole other thing that was brought back later. So it's for the Doctor, it was basically like Luke Skywalker's hand getting chopped off, and then they kept the hand. So, but they didn't reattach it because the Doctor had just regenerated, or he was going to regenerate. So that lets him actually heal himself briefly. So he grew a new hand.
Okay. So he's just got an extra hand lying around?
Kept it in the
chest. You got 2 hearts. You got an extra hand too. You starting to sound like you're a little Klingon in there.
I was thinking about the Klingons with these.
Yeah, 2 hearts. Just one of everything else, though.
Okay.
So this Doctor Who is really one being, but he's kind of like a trill. He keeps coming back in like a different body, but
he's basically the ultimate expression of reincarnation. Like you die, you regenerate, you come back as you, but it's a new you. Like your personality.
Does he remember the past lives?
Eventually, yeah. Right away when he regenerates, it's kind of a blank slate.
Okay.
All
right, everybody. Are you ready for Ncuti Gatwa? Because he's going to come in there. He's got like 14 lives that he's got to remember from like 1963, and so the brother's going to be ready, and he's going to like jump. He's going to go like he's going to be like quantum leaping into like periods of history. Is that what this show sounds incredible. I'm going to have to like check this out again. I mean, my college years were all a blur. I don't really remember what happened with Doctor Who.
I think that's one of the things that has always intrigued me the most about Doctor Who. Because I was always coming in like not really knowing what had gone on previously. I'm always like jumping some random episode. Every time I see it, it's a different Doctor. I don't have any context for anything going on, but I feel like I'm kind of like the characters in that sense, because they're in some brand new world, in some often in some brand new place, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here, and like, why are we here? What are we doing? And I love the mystery of that, right? Like, I love the puzzle of that. I mean, it's a mystery is often written into a lot of the stories of Doctor Who.
Yeah, that is one of the writing themes. There's usually some puzzle to solve. I don't think they've had an episode where they just go and hang out somewhere.
Right.
Something almost always happens, and then there's a puzzle to solve.
Yeah, why would you want to see that? I don't want to see the Doctor. I want to see doing something.
I tell you, one thing I love, like one thing I try not to miss is the Doctor Who Christmas specials.
Yeah, those are a big.
They have Christmas specials.
Yes, even I knew that. There was a big one. Was it like?
Are they like singing and doing stuff?
No, it's like
not necessarily,
it's kind of like
it's
a little mini movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little mini movie every Christmas, usually around Christmas or like right before or right after. They will do a big story. It's a standalone thing. Sometimes if it's in the middle of a Doctor's run, it's just a standalone story. But usually they'll try and coincide that with, if they're switching Doctors, they'll coincide that so that the big Christmas episode will tie into that. So you get one last escapade for the outgoing Doctor. But those are usually, they crank up the fun level in those. There are some episodes where Doctor Who, where they don't win necessarily. It's like they survive usually. But it's not always a happy outcome. Usually with the Christmas specials though, it's a more lighthearted adventure.
Okay.
So it's fun. It's like, it's something you watch while you're unboxing your Christmas presents. Waiting for Christmas.
Okay.
It's just one of those fun things.
Yeah.
Do you like watching The Trouble with Tribbles every Christmas? But there's a different sort of wacky tale.
Well, when she said the Christmas special, y'all know where my mind went at. The cheesiest, one of the cheesiest and worst Christmas special.
The Star Wars Christmas special?
The cheesiest thing.
It is terrible.
I don't even know what you're talking about. The Star Wars.
The Star Wars.
Get out of here, Sabrina. You know the Star Wars.
Go on
one
YouTube and you can find it.
Oh God, I've never even.
It's actually on Disney Plus now.
Oh, is it
awful.
for real? Oh my God.
It's awful.
It was so funny. I mean, it's just so bad. It's funny. It's like,
oh my God. I don't even know this.
I think it's so bad that it's bad.
What year did this come out? The Star Wars Christmas.
In the 80s sometime.
80.
Okay.
Yeah, it was between
late
Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was, and I actually watched it.
I watched it as a kid, so I was like 5 or 6 when
I was a grown woman, so it was really good to you, wasn't it? You thought it was nice, didn't you?
It was weird. Because it didn't. A lot of it didn't line up with the movies, but then there was the animated part where they show us that, and they're like, okay. But yeah, the older you get, the more you watch it, and the more confusing it gets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're paying attention to it now, and you know Star Wars, and you're like, what's going on here?
Right?
Yeah, and I was a grown woman when I watched it, so it's like, what in the hell?
Man, I just wondered how much more time we were going to spend at Chewbacca's house. You know,
we went to Chewbacca's house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently,
how
it was
did
like
I miss this?
It's like the Hotel California. We couldn't leave.
You know, you might check out, but you ain't going nowhere. Sabrina, you've never seen it. You
really need to watch Star Wars.
Oh my God, we might have to do a SyFy Sistas watch party.
We might have to do.
No, we don't.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
It's that fun. So Jamal, I have another question. If people were interested in trying to do some boning up on some Doctor Who pre-new Black Doctor who's going to be amazing, because we just claimed that.
Yep.
What would you recommend? Like, how would people go about? Because this is a really huge, large, intimidating franchise to jump into.
With more than a half a century worth of content, it can be daunting in knowing where to jump in. Honestly, I would say start with one of the shows from 2005 forward, then you can go back.
Okay.
Because if you start at the beginning, it's very similar to having people who are used to all the new CGI stuff, telling them to go watch The Cage or Where No Man Is Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The effects they're very 1960s British television effects.
Yeah, that was the problem.
A lot of practical stuff. You can tell that there's dryer vent. That's a plunger with some wire on it.
Oh yeah, like they weren't trying. They were not trying.
They were compared to what you would see in like 50s sci-fi movies. It was actually pretty creative considering they were cranking them out weekly. So.
So let me ask you: would you recommend looking at? Have you ever looked at Pluto? Looked at it on Pluto? Would you recommend?
If you want to just dive in and see if anything grabs you, just go on Pluto, pick a couple episodes, and start.
Okay.
Hey, I would recommend Midnight. I would definitely recommend the one that we saw because that was
Midnight is a good one to start with.
Never knew anything about it. You don't really have to know anything particularly about, Doctor Who or his alienness or anything like that to enjoy that episode. And it was an absolutely incredible episode.
I mean, it was a brilliant episode. Yeah.
And where can I see that? Where?
Actually, I believe they have it on HBO Max now, but you can also watch it, stream it from BBC America.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, who was your favorite Doctor?
My favorite Doctor is David Tennant, the 10th Doctor.
So is mine.
Okay.
So is mine. Definitely my favorite. By far. Like, I just love David Tennant, though, also.
I do too.
Like, it took a little time to warm up to Matt Smith. But eventually, he's good.
He was pretty good.
Yes,
Matt Smith was pretty good.
Actually, his series had one of the episodes where if you want to see how the show can actually grab a hold of your heart and squeeze for a little bit, I would say watch Vincent and the Doctor. It's from it's one of Matt Smith's episodes where they basically go back. The Doctor and his companion go back and meet Vincent van Gogh because they started off looking at his paintings in a mirror.
I saw that one.
Oh,
yes.
you just
my gosh, that was a good one.
That one will make even the most stiff upper lip person tear up.
Oh yeah. That's like right up that. You're right, because that one hit me right the same type of way that Watching the Visitor hits me. Every time.
Oh God!
Wow!
Yes.
I remember that one. That was a good one. Thank you for that reminder. Like that is those two episodes alone are enough to convince me like I need to be more serious about watching this Doctor Who, because every time, especially like from the newer ones, I'm running into a brilliantly written science fiction story almost every time. Yes. I mean, there's I don't tend to run across a lot of clunkers.
Doctor Who has a few, but they're few and far between, I'd say. And they usually follow it up or proceed it with something so solid you don't care. Sometimes you're like, okay, I can deal with this clunker. It's not gonna feel bad about this.
So a few move along homes, but not that many.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a couple other characters. There's a couple recurring characters. One is the Master, who's his nemesis through basically thousands and millions of years.
Is that played by a different person too?
Yeah, the Master gets since he's also a Time Lord, he regenerates and actually. Actually, yeah, the Master was the first female Time Lord that we saw, because at one
point, out of town. All right.
Yeah, he at one point he regenerated into a woman who called herself Missy. She was played by Michelle Gomez. And she was brilliant. Like normally, I wasn't that big of a fan of the Master, but when she took over that, it was just. She was like deliciously evil.
Yeah,
so it was like a playful level of evil.
Who was the actress that played the female?
Michelle Gomez, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, probably my favorite character that isn't the Doctor is River Song.
Now, which character is that?
Actually, the Doctor's wife eventually.
Well, they're writing it down.
I know, right? That's that pause that you hear, folks. It's just like
we're writing it down.
Sister,
They're writing.
Can't hear
They're
this.
writing it down.
Scratch, scribble.
Okay.
River Song is played by Alex Kingston, who you might actually remember American TV. I believe she was on ER as one of the nurses.
I remember that name, Alex Kingston.
She's also played Boudica, Warrior Queen, in a movie about her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's an amazing actress. But yeah, when you see her and the Doctor, she's interacted with like 3 or 4 versions of the Doctor so far, which is kind of unique for her because when she meets him for the first time is not when he meets her for the first time. So, yeah.
Oh,
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. So they're out of sync. So they actually have to keep she keeps a diary of their encounters.
Oh, wow.
And every time he tries to take a peek at it, she grabs it away and says, "Spoilers, sweetie."
Oh, wow. Oh, this is starting to sound like Timeless now.
Okay.
Where are my Timeless fans?
So even though the people can't see your background, it looks really huge on the is that inside the TARDIS? Is that the way it looks?
We didn't touch on the TARDIS.
Let's
probably
do that.
heard people say it's bigger on the inside.
Okay.
But basically the ship is effectively like an inside out holodeck. Like it has what they call in the show a chameleon circuit. So you can make it look like anything you want. There was a point where it would go into whatever shape you wanted. So there was a point where it looked like a dresser. It would look like normally it looks like a big blue police box. Have in London. But it has at various points looked like a diner from the 1950s, inside and out. A police box, I believe a garbage dumpster, and various other shapes. The problem is that at some point it gets stuck, so that it's stuck looking like the police box. So it kind of stands out. But it has, they explain that by giving it this, it's basically a psychic camouflage, so that most people, if they look at it, won't recognize what it is. It'll look like something from when their time is. But if you go back to like the 1950s or the 60s and you're in London, people are like, "Where'd you get that old police box?"
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a phone booth around here anymore. So if all of a sudden a phone booth appeared, we would all go, "What is this phone booth doing here?"
Where's the phone booth? Yeah. What's with the phone booth?
There's another aspect of this show that we haven't touched on either that I think as Trekkies is particularly relevant, especially if you watched the first season of Star Trek Picard. And that is the sonic screwdriver. And,
yes.
And the reason that I say that is because I looked up, and on Picard, they're given a gift and it's basically a stick, and they point it at something and it fixes whatever they need it to fix, which is like the sonic screw, which is exactly what the sonic screwdriver was. And I just looked at the Trek guys writing. I'm like, is this an ode to Doctor Who, or is this a straight ripoff of Doctor Who? And that was my question.
It's a little bit of both, I think. Yeah. But yeah, the sonic screwdriver is the Doctor's tool of choice. It's also his weapon of choice. Like you said, it's partly telepathically controlled, so you think about what you want it to do. Very much like the tool that they gave Picard. And it does it. However, it has a limitation. It doesn't work on wood because sonic weapon. It can vibrate the water molecules or air molecules in wood and basically shatter it, but if he needed to like open a door that was wood and there wasn't a metal lock, it'd be a problem.
Okay.
But he can reprogram computers with it. He can. What one thing he actually did at Matt Smith did it was he grabbed someone's random cell phone, used a sonic screwdriver on it, and basically got it to connect to every computer on the planet.
I love the sonic screwdriver. It's such a great plot device.
Yeah.
And so every Doctor Who had a sonic screwdriver, or did this
There
appear
was one that actually used the flute, and for a brief period, Peter Capaldi's Doctor, he preceded Jodi Wittaker. He had sonic sunglasses because he was he was trying to be hip. But yeah, he played electric guitar, which he actually did play. It turns out he was in a band with Craig Ferguson.
Wow. Okay, that's
in their
random. That is so random.
But yeah, he lost his screwdriver. It got broken. So he made a pair of sonic sunglasses.
He lost his sonic screwdriver.
But yeah, H Doctor has a slightly different looking sonic screwdriver. That's one of the things that helps distinguish them. It first started out looking like a pen with a little red dot at the top of it.
Okay.
But then it got more detailed and unique, so that by the time they got to the 9th Doctor and the 10th Doctor, it was a very unique tool.
Okay.
So is it like, okay, well, I mean, does each Doctor have their own incarnation? Like how some things you get a new Trek series and they're updating things that, we've seen on other shows, but on this show, it's going to look like this, I mean, do they do that?
Yes, actually.
Like the different Klingons?
The basic shape of the TARDIS stays the same. That's one thing that changes. But sometimes you'll get slight variations in it. Like certain Doctors have a slightly different light on the top. The TARDIS will be like a couple inches taller, a couple inches wider. The shade of blue that it is will change. Some of them will look newer than others. But on the inside, it's basically like working inside a Zoom call with someone like me, where you can have a different background. They actually call them desktops, so that there's a different interface for basically each version of the Doctor. So they can make it look however they want.
Okay. That's nice. So here's the thing, like, why should Black people care about Doctor Who? Like, why do we care?
Or do we care?
I think we do care. And not just because there's going to be a Black Doctor. That's another great reason too. But beyond that, it's very much like Star Trek in that the Doctor tends to seek out people who are on the road to, or have already gotten to that place where we're better than we are now. And they find the people who are better than the people in their time. They rise above, they step up and do the right thing. There's also the adventure, seeing alien worlds, seeing how other cultures exist. And the Doctor is fascinated with all of it. There was a point where there's one called where Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, where he's basically hanging out with Queen Nefertiti. He brings her on the TARDIS along with a couple of other people, an adventurer, and she's quite brilliant. So they play that properly. It's like she's not just there to look good.
Nice.
Like a lot of people, they're pulled out of their time. So there's things they obviously don't understand technology wise, but in terms of practicality, like if they have to come up with a strategy or figure out whether or not someone's lying to them, those strengths get to play through. Everyone gets to try and reach their potential. Like the companions, sometimes they're, one of them may be a little mousy or timid, but after they're done with the Doctor, they become bold. They see that they can do anything that they put their mind to, because they've saved the universe, they've saved the world, and they've gone places no one else has ever gone. And they're traveling with someone who will do all these things without picking up a weapon. He
That's
uses his
very
mind
interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, they
and
never have
words.
a weapon.
Still, I think representation matters. It matters that, little girls or little black girls will see themselves. Oh, that could be me, and you all saw the reactions of those little black girls when they showed that trailer of Ariel. So representation does matter. And I hope they get more diverse on this show because it matters. Yeah, it matters.
Definitely.
Well,
And I
I
think
think they
that
have.
should start happening with this new Doctor, hopefully. I'm hoping people
Yeah,
will just give the show a chance. They brought back one of the older showrunners, so the writing should be solid and the flow of the show should be better. So,
Oh,
and now they're basically, in terms of filming, there should be clear of the pandemic issues that Jodi's
I
last
hope
run
so.
had. So,
Poor thing.
Mhm.
She
So,
didn't.
so Jamal, before we, end this, I want to also mention that this show has one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about this show is because we do love sci-fi, and this is the longest running science fiction television series in the world.
In the world.
So
Yep.
it's the most successful of them all, beating Star Trek, beating Star Wars, beating all of them, just from the number of shows, the DVDs, the amount they've made. So, I mean, this is not a show that you can poo-poo. It is the show.
Mhm.
So to say you're sci-fi and not know Doctor Who at all is like, oh, you just need to at least acknowledge the show and say, yeah, this was something. But it also has like 4 spin-offs. So do we have any presence in any of these spin-offs? I know there's Torchwood, which I have heard of.
I love
Mhm.
Torchwood, by the way.
Okay, and K9, and then there's the Sarah Jane Adventures and Class. I don't know the other 3 or 4, but
Class
I know
was
Torchwood.
basically a youth-oriented one. It was a diverse group of basically high school students who encounter some Doctor Who villains. The Doctor eventually shows up, but they wind up having to basically do the Doctor's job while he's not there. Torchwood is probably the biggest spin-off, where Captain Jack, who I mentioned earlier, basically winds up leading a team to deal with things that happen on Earth when the Doctor's not around, because there's apparently constantly aliens trying to invade or hide
All
out.
the time. I'm telling you, all the time.
Earth is
I might have to
apparently
look at
really
Torchwood.
popular
This
with
sounds good.
aliens. Yeah. The Sarah Jane Chronicles. Sarah Jane was one of the Doctor's earlier companions. She's probably still the most popular one. And she was probably the first one that you could clearly tell was in love with the Doctor at one point. But they gave her own spinoff. K9 is actually a little robot dog that the Doctor created, and basically gave to Sarah Jane as a parting gift. So it's an alien robot dog that rolls around. It's very smart, very helpful, can shoot laser beams out of its nose. Yeah,
Okay.
K9's cute.
So, are you a completist in the? Have you seen? Let's just say from.
That is actually a hard one. Because,
yeah, some of the stuff.
Because some of the earlier episodes, a lot of the earlier episodes were lost because the BBC, for some reason, there was a fire that destroyed some of the tapes, and some of them they just actually reused and recorded over them.
Just
Wow.
recorded, yeah.
Save money.
Wow.
So some episodes have actually only been found and restored because they found the tapes in TV stations in obscure places around the globe. Like they found some in Brazil or Argentina, some in Africa. They found the cast of some tapes for shows that they thought there were no copies of, so that they were actually able to bring them back. They, in some cases, they had audio for the episodes. So there was a few years ago, they did an animated version. It was kind of like one of those motion comic books.
Wait.
It's not a full cartoon.
An animated version of Doctor Who?
It's more like one of those motion comics that you see that they'll do for movies.
Okay.
Where it'll have the
Okay.
audio. So basically, it's like a moving storyboard of
Got
what happened.
it.
Okay.
With more detail than a storyboard would.
Okay.
Because
I
they
don't
only
know,
had the
y'all.
audio.
I don't know how we're going to get into this, but we're going to try.
Imagine they lost 12 episodes of Star Trek the original.
Yeah, we would be like up
if
in
you
arms.
didn't see it then, and all the tapes were lost, but they had the audio, so they'd have to
be
read
there, or you don't know what happened.
There hasn't been an actual animated Doctor Who series yet. That would actually be pretty cool.
I think it would. Yeah, I think it would. Yeah.
But originally, Doctor Who was targeted at children to get them into history. So,
right, he was supposed to jump to all the historical places,
and they did a lot of traveling on Earth, but they mixed in aliens to make it different.
So you're just saying that Quantum Leap is just not that original. Y'all heard it here first.
Yep, that's what he's saying.
I'm putting it out on Twitter tomorrow.
When he first,
we've got basically Quantum Leap again too. So have you seen that?
You basically have H.G. Wells. You got Doctor Who.
Yep.
And I get technically it'd be Star Trek, and then the Time Tunnel, and then you're going down the list. Yeah, Quantum Leap is not. It's not in the top 5.
Okay.
In terms of when they use time travel as a main gimmick.
Right.
Quantum Leap does it interestingly because he doesn't actually go anywhere. He's in the chamber, and his essence doesn't physically go anywhere.
He can only travel in his lifetime.
Yeah.
So
he can
only travel. He only traveled in his lifetime. So that was when you first started describing it. I was thinking about, Sam jumping around, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then when you put the aliens, I'm like, okay, this is not Quantum Leap here. Because I was thinking it was like Quantum Leap.
Uh-huh.
I really was. Only a British version.
You said that one of the doctors met up with the other doctor. So our temporal
that
mechanics,
has happened a few times.
That's not how the way temporal mechanics work in Star Trek. Wait now.
It doesn't blow up the universe.
My head is starting to hurt.
It doesn't blow up the universe, but the worst thing that happened is that the desktops, where basically the bridge of the TARDIS is, they got confused and they kept changing back and forth between the different doctors when they were all in one. And usually the doctors.
Okay, what episode is that? I got to see that one.
When they did that most recently was the Doctor's 50th anniversary episode, where they had David Tennant, the late John Hurt. He played the War Doctor. And
he was on there? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we're
also
gonna have to check this out, man. Come on now.
So at the end, there were 3 TARDISes parked next to each other, so you can see them from the different areas, which was really the best.
That's cool.
The best way to see the subtle differences from them. But usually when they meet up with other doctors, it's kind of a running gag that they never like the changes that they make to the desktop, except when they go back to one of the early ones where it was basically like the one you see on my background where it's just the white dots. They all have a fondness because that's the stock appearance of the TARDIS on the inside. As time goes by, they make subtle changes. Some of them didn't have chairs. Some of them had basically it was like a parlor where they had a table, chairs, a tea set. That was mostly with Sylvester McCoy. You've probably seen him in a lot of cons. He was the most visually gimmicky doctor, I would have to say, because he carried an umbrella with a question mark, which of course is the doctor's symbol. And nice. I believe he wore a straw hat.
Okay.
Yeah, when you see him, you're like, oh, he was a doctor.
I didn't see any of these, but I know this picture.
Well, I promise after we get off of here, I'm going to turn on Pluto.
You going to turn on Pluto, huh?
I'm going to turn on Pluto. I am. Because
you got it, Jamal. You got it.
Yeah, because I haven't seen any.
Well, so we're just going to take a look.
I'm going to look.
Jamal has certainly I think has whet some appetites for, for the Doctor out there. I mean, I certainly feel like I need to go out and watch some Doctor Who tonight, sometimes I get in a little bit of a rut and like, what are you going to watch tonight? It's, is it going to be Star Trek?
Or which episode of Deep Space Nine you're going to watch, right?
And you forget that there's other shows out there sometimes. I get like stuck in a Star Trek bubble, stuck in the rut. But
he's piqued my interest. I'm telling you.
Well, that's good.
And thank you.
I have one last question. I think that we did not touch on at all, which was the thing that got me. I must have seen this when I was younger. It was like a movie. There was a little girl in it, and I think she was the companion. This was an old one, and it seemed like it was a movie. And these like machine things were coming after them. These they just were so cheesy, and I couldn't deal. But they were
those are probably Daleks.
The
Daleks,
yeah, the Daleks.
The Daleks basically kind of look like a conical shaped washing machine with a plunger sticking out of the head. Cybermen kind of look like they were made out of vacuum parts, but they tend to have.
Oh goodness!
They'll be silver usually. They've had a couple different variations, including one that was wood because they knew about the sonic screwdriver. They forgot about fire being a problem, but yeah, those are the aliens that come back the most with Doctor.
Okay, now are they in the 2005 going forward?
Yes, they brought the Daleks back first in 2005 because the Doctor's people, the Time Lords, and the Daleks had been in war for quite some time, and you'll hear references to it as the Time War. Basically, the battlefield was all of space and time because the Daleks want to wipe out everything and start over. They're pretty much
like the Borg.
Kind of not so much like the Borg, but more they're like a combination of the Borg and Thanos or Darkseid.
Yeah, more like Thanos. Yeah,
Oh, more like Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, they
want to be the one perfect life form in the universe. And they'll destroy everybody else.
Now, am I right in assuming that the Doctor is the last of his kind?
At various points in the show, you believe that, but it may or may not be true. Because at one point, he thought that Gallifrey, his homeworld, was destroyed and all the Time Lords died. But then that may or may not be the case. The problem is he doesn't remember all the time. There are points when he finds out Gallifrey's still there, but then he forgets.
He is very much of a...
Yeah, so that's one of the things, like, later on, from 2005 forward, he's kind of sad because he can't go home because he thinks he's the last of his kind. But then the Master shows up, who, while being his worst enemy, is also his oldest friend. So for them, it's the two of them.
That explains why there's so much camaraderie between those.
Because they're both on the same planet,
especially the Master that you were talking about.
Well.
The woman who played the Master, you really see that come out in those performances. That there's an intimacy, not camaraderie. There's an intimacy.
Yes.
That's born out of shared experience and being like the only ones. So even though they are technically enemies, and see, this is the problem with watching Doctor Who out of context, y'all, because like that confused me so much. And I was like, I thought you're the bad guy, but like you're together and you're chilling at the same time, but you're really on opposite ends of the spectrum and you're really working at opposite ends, opposite goals. Yeah. Okay.
Like thank you. Both of them want them to join the other one's side. Like the Doctor always wants the Master to just give up being evil and go travel the universe with them. But the Master is like, give in. Let's just be the most powerful people in the universe and run everything, which is completely at odds with each other. So it never really happens. But for the few times that they work together, it's just like they're kind of unstoppable.
I would think so.
Yeah.
That's really a lot of power. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
One last thing, and I wish Yvette was here because she would enjoy this.
Hi, Yvette.
Hey,
There is
Vet, we miss you.
actually connection between Star Trek and Doctor Who. There's actually several comics where a couple of different versions of the Doctor actually interact with different versions of the Enterprise. So Tom Baker's Doctor actually meets Captain Kirk, while Matt Smith's Doctor meets Captain Picard.
Get out!
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
So there's comics where that happens. So it wasn't just like with the X-Men crossover with Next Generation.
There is a Doctor Who Star Trek crossover comic book.
Yes.
Oh, comic book. Okay.
All right. I got to find that. Yvette, please.
Oh, they're around. You can find them.
this for us. I want to read this. And so do they have a lit verse too, like Star Trek has, a series of books?
Yes. Doctor Who is actually more, there are books and comics, but they're actually more known for radio dramas.
Oh,
there are a lot of radio dramas where they'll tell other stories.
Radio dramas,
and
okay.
By doing that, they can use actors from previous Doctor Who stories to tell an infinite number of tales. So you'll get
they must be on
Tom
Spotify.
Baker doing ones. You'll get Peter Davison, Colin Baker. All of the doctors, basically from Tom Baker forward, since they're still around.
Wow!
And most of the companions who are still around will do them. There's a couple of companions that only exist in the radio dramas and books. So.
Oh wow!
Okay.
It's a lot, folks.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. So, like, if we have piqued your interest, I'm saying dip your toe anywhere and try. But this has been a really great discussion. Jamal, thank you so very much for coming to hang out with us and lend your knowledge and your expertise and your love of this franchise.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been a fan of the show since it started, and I love what you ladies do.
Oh, shucks. Oh, we love you too, man. We love you too. And now we're going to have you back on some Trek stuff too.
Absolutely.
All right.
But see, folks.
What do you think of Tuvok? I mean, Tuvok.
Janeway did nothing wrong.
No,
I thought I saw that out there.
Janeway did nothing wrong.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you very much.
Agreed.
I just wanted to know.
Janeway did nothing wrong.
On that note, folks, before this completely devolves,
really,
we're gonna say a sayonara. We want to know what your thoughts are on Doctor Who. If you've been a longtime Whovian, if you are somebody like me who dips in and out every once in a while, or if you're a complete novice to Doctor Who, what you think about this show, and any comments, any comments that you might have about the show that just might be read on the air at some point. Sabrina, do you want to tell folks where they can find us?
Yes. You can find us on our website, SyFy That's SyFy Sistas, SyFySistas.com. And please leave us a message and let us know what you think of the show. And actually, if you go there, you can also check us out on Patreon, which is patreon.com/SyFy Sisters. You can reach us on the Twitter, where we are SyFy Sisters. And we are on Facebook, where we are SyFy Sisters, and also the SyFy Sisters Mothership, spelled MUTHATSHIP, Mothership.
She did it!
And we are the SyFy Sistas. Look for the sisters. We're not the sisters. We are the sisters.
That's because I'm from Boston. If you have an A, I say an R, and if you have an R, I say an A. That's all it is. But I spelled it right.
Oh, okay. But we're the sisters.
We can spell, and Sabrina can say sisters when she tries really hard, and and we are delighted and thankful for our sound engineer, Dose, the anonymous one. He's the baddest sound engineer. Dose.
In
In all the galaxies, and he's responsible for all the music you hear on our show. And if you need engineering skills and production skills, hit him up on the IG at dose_the_anonymous_1. And we want to thank you all for listening to us, and we'll see you the next go round. I'm going to go break out my sonic screwdriver. I got some shit to fix around here. Peace, love, and hair grease, y'all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jamal.
You're welcome.